my name is Gardner Center,
And I'm Christopher Guzman.
and we're from the Writing Center. We're here today to tell you a little bit about the graduate writing game plan.
All right, what we'll cover today are the differences between undergraduate and graduate writing, reading critically, writing as a process, pre-writing, drafting, revising, and editing, lead time, researching and note-taking, quoting and citing sources to help you as a writer.
Now, who are we? We are the Writing Center. We're located here at the main campus at 1604 at the John Peace Library in the South Commons. Our room number is JPL 20112D, and we also have a downtown campus location. The Writing Center tutors do a lot of different things. Mostly we just discuss your work with you, assist with organization, offer feedback, and strengthen editing skills.
Now, there are a lot of different expectations for graduate students rather than undergraduate students. As an undergraduate, your writing is going to be a bit different. You usually have short, simple papers. They range between 3 to 5 on average pages. They're usually argumentative or compare and contrast. The research done for these is usually very superficial as compared to the graduate writing. Lists or short descriptions of findings. And there are really generic conclusions to these papers.
Now, as far as graduate writing goes, you have longer, more thought-intensive papers. They range from about 10 to 20 pages, and the reading and digestion is longer articles. You will have to identify flaws and weaknesses in research. You'll have to get a little bit more in depth, and connecting and synthesizing new information. Also, drawing informed conclusions and recommendations. You have to make it a little bit more stronger than your undergraduate writing.
Now, reading critically is a bit different in the graduate level. You're essentially going to have to first preview your work, contextualize it, question it, reflect on it, summarize, evaluate, and compare.
Now, writing as a process. Stage 1 is framing the issue and planning. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. Stage 2 is information gathering. So you have your topic, you don't really know a whole lot about it. Let's get out there and research it. Come to the library, come to your professors, get enough information so that you know what to start with. Stage 3 is analyzing the information. Once you've gathered it, read it, digest it. Stage 4 is writing the actual report. Now you have stuff to go off of, go ahead and sit down, buckle down, and get started. And now repeat any necessary steps. So you run out of information, go back and start some more research.
Pre-writing research. This quote from John Wesley Powell says, "The fool collects facts, the wise man selects them." Know where you're going with your research before you start. Find sources that help support you, not the other way around.
Research. Research is a circular process. Start with a general research question, but be willing to alter your thesis as you collect data. You're going to notice that once you start researching, there's just so much to go off of. There's so many different keywords to search. So as you start typing them in, you get general ideas. And then once you start reading them, you're going to notice like, hey, I really like this topic, this section of the topic, and you're going to dive into it. However, you might find out that the original thesis that you have is actually not what you find sources for. And then you might just change it back and forth depending on how good your research is. Now, also locate sentimental texts in your general topic. Ask your professors if you need help, and use those bibliographies as a starting point. In other words, do not just head for JSTOR or Google. These articles aren't always written by credible sources, so you want to get in there and find sources from different journals, maybe different universities that have published them that are really good, credible sources.
Note-taking. Keep good records of your notes. Double-check all quoted material. Use a working bibliography, and have your endnotes. One thing to think about while taking your notes is while this may affect your eventual thesis, it's far easier for you to change your thesis than to change an entire paper to fit a thesis. So this is something important to take into consideration.
Taking the plunge, drafting. Drafting and writer's block. Start early. Breaking the process down into small steps. Day 1, go to the library. Again, you don't really know what you're writing about. Go to the library, read some information. Not only are you gaining information, but you're also watching the way other writers are writing about this topic. Day 2, record notes from 3 articles. The more articles you find, the easier it is to write your paper. The more things you have to bounce off of. Your research should be kind of like your building stones to your paper. The more you have, the easier it is to connect ideas. Day 3, visit the Writing Center. You have a draft, you think it's awesome, come on in and show us. It's always easier to have a second pair of eyes to look it over. You might have some gaps in your logic, and hearing it from someone outside of you helps with the flow.
Drafting and writer's block. Be forgiving. Premature editing can stifle even the most experienced writer. One thing to think about when writing is, this might be a little cliche by now, but write the first drafts from your heart, subsequent drafts from your head. This is an easy way to get things down on the paper. It doesn't have to be perfect on this first draft. That's what editing's for. Schedule an appointment at the Writing Center to discuss your ideas. Clear thinking equals clear and easy writing. We're available to help you at all stages during the writing process, whether it's brainstorming or working on your works cited page. Come here and make as many appointments as you can. It doesn't matter what part of the process you're at.
Getting started with your outline. Blueprints for writing. Research paper structure. Introduction provides a bird's eye view. You want to have your introduction as kind of like setting the stage. You want to have everything that's involved in your paper, but narrow it down. If you have a topic about like history, talk about like, is it American history? Is it Asian history? Is it contemporary? Is it ancient? Kind of give those guidelines for yourself. Background information. Again, anything that you have that's relevant for the reader to know about what you're going into, mention that. Literature review of the state of the art. Organized by ideas, not by author. Research question, problem statement. Describe how you solve the problem or answer the question. And then your conclusion.
Revision. The compulsion to include everything, leaving nothing out, does not prove that one has unlimited information. It proves that one lacks discrimination. J. Aronson. Revision, technically, is concerns overarching issues such as organization, content, and logic. Beginning writers move directly from drafting to editing. Experienced writers do not bother with editing until the aforementioned issues are resolved.
Quoting. You can only quote the original source. You do not have to quote public knowledge. Do not quote if you can paraphrase, summarize without losing the impact. In your paper, your reader wants to know what you're saying, your opinions about the topic. So rather than having lots of quotes from lots of different authors, it's best to paraphrase them. It shows that not only have you read the information, you've digested it, but you can present it in your own words and perhaps an even more clear and concise way.
Citing sources. There are many different ways, many different formats to cite your sources. Commonly we see the MLA form, Modern Languages Association. This is generally used in your art courses, your English courses. We have the American Psychological Association, APA, which you're going to see more in your sciences. American Sociological Association is for sociology, of course, though there are more. Chicago style for your history courses. Doesn't matter what format your work needs to be in, we can help you at the Writing Center and have all the different source books needed.
In the home stretch, proofreading and editing. It is recommended to reserve 24 hours at least before editing your own work. The thing is, once you have an idea in your brain and you're typing it out, some of the stuff that's in your brain doesn't happen to get on the page. So you want to step away from it, you want to not think about it. And so when you read it, it sounds like it's from another person, and then you realize, oh, like here's the logic gaps, here's where I need to add stuff. And also go backwards. When you're reading a sentence, your eyes kind of tend to just skim it, or they read paragraph after paragraph. This way, if you go backwards, starting from the last sentence and going backwards, you notice all the little mistakes. And having questions about editing, come to the Writing Center. We have lots of different tutors that know lots of different things. We also have lots of reference books to help you.
Misuse of words. The amount. Use this word when you refer to a mass or aggregate. Use number when units are involved. And, or. Avoid it. He, she. Avoid this one too. Quite, very, really. Delete them. Twain himself said that if you took out the word very and replaced it with another word, you would realize how ridiculous you sound.
We're all friends here. Unspoken questions. Now, we've got lots of questions that come in from lots of different people at the Writing Center. And here are just some common ones. Question 1. I am uncomfortable with the vocabulary of academic articles. Well, what you can do is learn how to read them, practice, attend a workshop, and get a handbook to read them. Another is how can I keep all these ideas in mind? Well, you don't have to is the great thing. You are not actually supposed to keep them all in mind. Use note cards, annotate articles, and books as guides through the process, especially if you have lots of different articles. Make notes in the margins, grab some pretty highlighters, mark it up. How can I be more familiar with intensive critical thinking process? Talk to professors and peers and go to workshops when they're offered. Talk to people who like talking about critical writing. They'll give you tips and it gets you thinking more.
Commonly unspoken questions. I get stressed out by all of this. How can I stop that? Well, use mini deadlines to ease final deadline stress. You don't have to follow a syllabus exactly. Create your own syllabus. Be the master of your own process. Work your way through what's going to be the best way to set deadlines to help you reach your actual deadlines. Another question is, I'm not confident in my writing abilities. How can I be? Well, you can come back to the Writing Center and get help with your drafts and final drafts. I'd also suggest that perhaps paying attention while reading is the best tool. Seeing what other writers are doing is the best way to improve yourself. Another question is, you make this look easy, but I'm still struggling with my paper. Why? Well, that's because writing is more of a circular process than a presentation, which is a linear process. You're going to have to increasingly go back to your work and edit as you work your way through this. There are multiple drafts, and because of this, it does have some cyclicality to it. You'll work on an introduction over and over again for a number of days, hopefully, to get it right.
Here's some online resources if you can't make it into the Writing Center. We have the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which is great for helping you cite your sources. We have Diana Hackler's Research and Documentation online, How to Organize Your Thesis, Cleveland State University Writing Center, and the UT Learning Center. Thank you so much for listening.